Hi, and welcome to Compelled. I am Mike. So we're talking about character, Zoe Quinn's character. And this is interesting. There is a photographer by the name of Mallorie, and she photographed Zoe Quinn for Deviant Nation a while back. Well, a while back. In the fall of 2007, a while back. As she says herself, she was working as a photographer with a number of softcore alt erotica porn sites. Now, Mallorie, being a photographer, travels frequently to work with models with websites that Mallorie was affiliated with, and she came upon a model working under the name of Locke Valentine, currently known as Zoe Quinn, who modeled for the websites that Mallorie was affiliated with. Zoe Quinn, the model, and Mallorie, the photographer. At the time, Zoe was living in Albany, New York, so we expressed a desire to collaborate and set a date for 3 photo shoots, as she says. In the fall of 2007, Mallorie packed up her equipment, drove 220 miles to Albany, New York, for a weekend of work with Zoe. Mallorie, at the time, was living in New Hampshire. So, by the time Mallorie arrived in Albany, Zoe had canceled one of the 3 photo shoots that they had planned, and Zoe was living in a tiny apartment with her boyfriend, spouse, lover, doesn't really matter, and a roommate. Mallorie had been assured that she could overnight with them, and they had room to accommodate a guest and room to shoot in, but really it didn't work out that way. They had neither. They ended up doing an impromptu shoot in an extremely crowded apartment in the middle of the night to try to save the shoot, but with a bit of editing, Mallorie knew that it had potential. They wanted to shoot for the next day. So while they were getting everything planned, Zoe and company chatted with me. I'm just going to read this straight out. Zoe claimed to have stabbed a man, an attempted rapist, in the face, who grabbed her. She relayed to me no less than 3 other accounts of alleged violent assault. I was alarmed at this, and I admit by the time she made the claim that she stabbed a man in the face with a knife and ran away, I was skeptical as well. 2 claims involved alleged workplace incidents and were her prime explanation for why she could not hold a job. I was mildly disconcerted because, true or false, these stories have good cause to make one uneasy. She also claimed to have reported nothing to police or management at her work. That's the most important thing, is that she never reported this. She also assaulted a man while she was working at DeCarlo's. Now, DeCarlo's is a strip club. Where is DeCarlo's? Yeah, DeCarlo's Gentleman Club. It is in Albany, New York. Well, what's so great about DeCarlo's Gentleman Club? I don't know. DeCarlo's. Albany.com. The legacy lives on. You have to be 21 years of age with proper ID to enter. DeCarlo's follows a strict no-contact policy on the main floor. If you're looking for something a little more frisky, try a private VIP couch dance with your favorite DC doll. Aside from their main performance, the DC dolls offer tableside dances on the main floor, VIP couch dances. Table dances do not have a set price. You should tip your entertainer generously for a table dance. And the hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., 8 p.m. to 3 a.m., 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and Friday and Saturday, closed on Sunday. Is DeCarlo's run by women? Yes. DeCarlo's is one of less than 10 gentlemen's clubs in the United States that is female-owned and operated. How long? Who knows? Is there a cover charge? Answer is yes. Do you have a dress code? Neat and casual, no men's tank tops, preferably no sweats. Please dress presentably. Our girls aim to impress. You should show them the same respect. Do you serve food? Small appetizer plates, perfect for a late-night snack or to soak up the drinks. They also have a gallery. And you can audition to become a DC doll. I don't really see any gallery here. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyways, Zoe Quinn was working for DeCarlo's. Now, this is 12 years ago, give or take. And I'm pretty sure that New York had laws back then. It doesn't say that it's a juice bar, but if you are planning to open a sexually oriented business such as a strip club or an adult video store, you should be aware of zoning laws, alcohol restrictions, and other regulations unique to SOBs. For instance, local strip club laws typically prohibit such businesses from locating near schools or churches, while some ban complete nudity or the sale of alcohol. Since they vary so much from one city or county to the next, make sure to check your local entertainment laws before opening that type of business. The law. A decades-long legal battle over adult entertainment purveyors in New York City may have finally ended. Back in 2001, there was a law banning storefronts with live performances characterized by an emphasis on certain specific anatomical areas or specific sexual activities for most commercial and residential neighborhoods. So Zoe Quinn worked at a strip club. So, yeah, no more stripping at DeCarlo's. So she had gotten a job at DeCarlo's, and what had happened is that she was told that it was going to be $45 an hour to strip at DeCarlo's. Now, no strip club pays you $45 an hour to strip. Just doesn't work that way. They probably said you can make as much as $45 an hour doing this, but you have to put in the time. Strippers work on tips, so they can make anywhere between $10 a night all the way up to thousands of dollars a night, depending on what they look like, how big their boobs are, things like that. And that's just a fact. But you also have to pay to play. Like, there is like a rental time for working at these establishments. It's kind of weird. So she says, yeah, no more stripping at DeCarlo's. Someone licked my tit, I blacked out, knocked him out, and probably shattered his eye socket. How did you know? If you blacked out, how did you know? Did someone tell you? Because you obviously said that you left. The ambulance was coming as I was leaving. Turns out it's $4.50 an hour, too, not $45. So I'd have to keep dancing for sleazeballs like him. Hi-ho, back to money issues, job hunting in the morning. Integrity is costing me a lot of fucking money these days, but it's worth it. It's all I have. You're selling your body on a website that specializes in deviant art, pictures, whatnot. You literally get naked for money. And then you go and work as a stripper because you can get naked for money. And you don't know what stripping requires. You don't know what the whole job entails. Like, they don't tell you. Like, there are hundreds of documentaries on HBO alone where they detail out the life of strippers in different cities. Turns out it's $4.50 an hour, not $45 an hour. Hilarious. She claims to have stabbed a man and then punched another man out and broke his eye, but she blacked out. Apparently, she recovered quite enough after she blacked out from that guy licking her tit that she was leaving, that she wasn't forced to leave, but she was leaving, and an ambulance was showing up. She assaulted a patron and was arrested, or at least, detained and talked to about what happened. No, she got to leave. This is an unbelievable fucking story. Mallorie and Zoe talked about modeling the websites and erotica and porn in general. It is what we both did for a living, and candid conversation on the subject was not unusual. The next day, Mallorie drove everyone to the location, which was her roommate's place of employment, an arcade. This is the location where the photo shown here on the website that she had posted was taken. It's just the three of them sitting in a one of those grabber things, the little claw machines, as it were. Mallorie was pissed because she drove 220 miles, have to carry all of her equipment to a shoot, deliberately given a false impression that Zoe and company would have their own transport, irritated that Zoe could provide neither her own wardrobe for the shoot, which is normal for a model to use her personal items, nor food. Didn't have any food, didn't have money for food. Keep in mind, we were both paid by a site. Once the photos are sold, everything I spent came out of my pocket. Otherwise, the shoot was unremarkable, and it went far better than the night before, and we had basically a good time. They tried for some more photos in the afternoon, but that just wasn't happening because there wasn't enough privacy or light. Mallorie drives home, spends countless hours editing hundreds of photos, and then when she was ready to send off the photos to Deviant Nation, Mallorie wrote Zoe to let her know, and she does this to get a model's final approval before sending off all photos. This is awesome. Zoe informed me that her roommate, who had been involved in the shoots, either by being in the apartment or smuggling us into her place of work, turned out to be, quote unquote, a mentally unbalanced cunt. among other things, and that it was unacceptable to use any of the photos we had taken that weekend. I was pretty upset about this and sent her several messages asking if perhaps I could talk to the roommate, have her sign a waiver or something, despite the fact that neither Zoe nor I had any legal obligation to ask the roommate's permission for anything. Zoe insisted that she was a crazy, evil bitch and refused to provide me with any sort of contact information. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? She does this all the time. It's in her character. It's in her makeup. She's a fucking liar. All she does is use people, and then when she's done using them, discards them like trash, and then makes up these amazing stories about how she was wronged. Well, how do I know this? Finally, weeks later, a handful of other models I had worked with on the site messaged me, her being Mallorie, to inform me that Zoe had written them and told them that I forced her to look at mutilated vagina pictures, quote-unquote mutilated, which she said had horrified her, and she had basically sent me away then and there, except the pictures show the proof. So she didn't send her away then and there. The models that Zoe told knew Mallorie, and thankfully came to me with these nonsense claims. They had, in fact, discussed cosmetic surgery, talking about modeling, and Zoe had looked up before-after breast implant images. Then the conversation moved on to labiaplasty, and they looked at a few of those images. So there is an inch of truth in the really awful lie she told about me. There's never any force involved. She was the one controlling the computer. This took place in Zoe's home, on Zoe's computer, with Zoe's boyfriend and Zoe's roommate, both in the room. Mallorie didn't want to deal with it. She contacted the roommate, and the roommate told a completely different story to the one Zoe had, and Mallorie let the issue drop. She was never paid for the images. Sounds familiar. Because, quote unquote, I respected her wishes and never published them. I still have the images in archive on my computer because I archive everything. I was never reimbursed for gas, wardrobe, or food purchased on the trip. And to someone starting their career, that was quite a dig to my wallet. And Zoe Quinn still does the same thing. Go right up to Kickstarter. She's took $85,000 from Kickstarter. And then, as I love to hear, I'm going to quote Sid Alpha, fucked off and went on vacation. Like to Tokyo or some shit like that. And what about the advance she got from her book Crash Override? What about the sales? What about the residual she got from sales on her book? What about the fact that she's possibly a Van Valkenburg and part of the Van Valkenburg? Well, we won't get into that. What about the fact that she continually makes money from all of these places? She was able to travel to goddamn Tokyo. She travels all over the place and she has no money. DC Comics and Marvel continually hires her. Well, I should say continually. I shouldn't say continually, but DC has given her multiple jobs. The first was Vertigo. Now she's working on a Batman comic, which we've already discussed. But she continually gains jobs amidst all of this evidence that she is a liar and an opportunist. We keep giving her all this information. We keep putting her back out in the news, so her name is out there consistently. But at some point, doesn't anybody stop and just say, "What the fuck are we doing with this person? Why is it that she continues to be able to succeed in the face of all this nonsense bullshit? How is it that the majority of these companies that she works for believe her rhetoric?" I've got one more that I want to talk about, and the one thing that I do want to talk about is Alec Holika's boss. But I can't buy into everything that is going on with Zoe Quinn. I can't. I don't get it. I don't understand how this piece of garbage human being continually abuses people, continually lies, cheats, steals, and gets jobs. It doesn't make any sense at all. I want to talk about Scott Benson next because he is also an amazing piece of garbage and an opportunist. I mean, it's all in black and white. And, regardless of anything else, the websites that are out there, everything that's out there about her, it's not about, what do you call it, the distractions. It's not about the 4chans. It's not about that. It's about the proof. This Mallorie person who works for Deviant Nation, who got to deal with her firsthand. There's reports of her. Zoe Quinn never made a physical threat against somebody, but she did threaten to submit a false report against me to our mutual employer. Zoe posts things like, no, I wanted to get high up so I could tear it down, decentralize and destabilize everything. She said that. Cole Nasrallah. I worked with her nearly a decade ago, subsequently published a piece about that experience several years ago in the middle of Gamergate. I am completely open to these requests. I want to be helpful. Something tragic just happened, and I believe some degree of moral responsibility for that tragedy rests with Zoe Quinn. Oh, but this is from the NeoGAF. However true this is, but still, to make matters worse, I also believe her to be an incredibly sketchy person. She is willing to flagrantly lie about people because she flagrantly lied about me. I know she has a lot of supporters. I'm also slightly sketched out by answering questions posed to me by people I don't know, concerned about their motivations. I figure, why do that email by email, message by message, when I could just make a post like this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the problem with the Me Too movement now. This is the problem with the believe all women. It's not just all women. If somebody comes to you with a claim, you believe them, and then you investigate the claim. And if it turns out to be false, you have to do something about it. I'll post a link to NeoGAF because we all need stuff to laugh at. But the truth of the matter is that any bit of information helps. But the big one is Know Your Meme Zoe Quinn thing, where there's an actual article that they put up for Mallorie to be able to show her side of the story. This is fucking crazy. Absolutely just fucking insane. What the fuck, man? I mean, really, what in the fuck is going on with this person, and why the fuck does she continually succeed in the face of all the goddamn evidence? That's all I got. Have a good day.